and welcome to another exciting episode of Game Overcast. I am David KAELIN, the Game Over CEO, and here we go with episode number 10. Can you believe it? We made it to 10. Yay! So it's pretty exciting. 10 is a good number. It's a solid beginning. I think there's a lot of TV shows that probably haven't made it past 10 episodes, right? So I guess we're doing something right, or at least there's like zero cost to do this, so can't really do anything wrong. But anyway, yeah, 10th episode. So that's pretty cool. So thank you for watching and listening. I'm very excited about this exciting milestone of the 10th episode. I'm feeling good, feeling more comfortable in the chair, in the hot seat, doing this every week. And I definitely appreciate the chance to talk to all of you, directly or indirectly through this format. And I love the feedback and the communication. So keep the comments coming. You can always email me at podcast@gameovervideogames.com. And, comment on the YouTube stream, comment on the podcast streams, and on Facebook and social media and everything. So, yeah, keep the comments coming. And look for some exciting stuff coming up. We have some big things going on for Game Over Video Games in the near future that I hope to feature on the podcast. So just a little tease there of things to come. But that's it. So let's get this party started. So let's go to level 1 with current events. And we're back with level 1, current events. And the first current event, it's not even on my list. I was just realizing it in between the transition there that this just in. I've taken a bath. I have a new shirt on. I normally have a Game Overcast uniform, which is jeans and a black Game Over t-shirt. But today, I'm rocking the purple. So what you can tell is every 10 episodes, I will clean myself and change clothes. So yay, hygiene. All right. So anyway, I look forward to episode 20, where I might wear a different shirt again. Who knows? I don't know. In other current events that are a little more exciting, hopefully, in current gen news, Sony is looking to consolidate and expand its online services, and so that'll be exciting. Sometime next year, they've got a codename Spartacus. Ooh, that sounds cool. So what they're doing is basically trying to assemble something similar to Xbox, where it's a more powerful, more robust online system that also includes, game streaming and kind of an all-in-one, package deal where you pay per month and you get access to all the games, which makes purchasing either physical or digital games kind of irrelevant because you just pay for the service, and just like Netflix, you get everything on that device. So not cool for us retro fans and physical fans, but it's a necessary evil, I guess, because Xbox is doing it. It's just the way of the world. It's going that direction, sadly. So they're going to have, a very large, change to their service. It sounds like very soon. They're going to have access to the older titles from PS1, 2, 3, 4, PSP, all that kind of stuff. Plus the current online type offerings that they have. So that's where it's going. Digital world, people. I can't stop it. We can't stop it. It's coming whether we like it or not. So anyway, but just like with Netflix or Disney Plus or any of the other wonderful streaming services, Spotify, stuff like that, it's great. It seems like you get everything for one low monthly fee. But you do have to keep in mind you don't ever actually own anything with that. You're paying to use a service, and those services can and do change. They can and do go out of business and close permanently. And since you never own anything, there's nothing that's going to appreciate in value. There's nothing that's going to be resellable for you. So all the money spent, once it's spent, it's gone, right? You spend your money on physical video games, you have stuff. So if you ever don't want the video games anymore, you can sell it and turn it back into money to buy other stuff. With digital, you spend the money and that's gone. It's nothing you can, sell or gift to somebody else. It's just, vaporizes when you're done with it. So that's kind of the sad reality of digital. But don't worry, the retro market will always be there. As the past several years, especially, the retro game market has boomed and prices have been just going up insanely. And so, we literally struggle to keep up with the price changes because they change so fast now. But most retro products have probably doubled in price or more just in the past year or two. It's really crazy. But as more and more things go digital in the future, the physical products that do remain, whether for more modern systems or even for the older systems, physical is going to get more and more hard to find and more rare. And with more and more rarity means the prices go up and up. So there's definitely going to be a benefit to being a retro gamer and retro collector, because you will be investing in something that gains in value, versus the people that do digital, and they'll be investing in a service, but 2, 3, 10 years later, when they've spent a total of hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that service, if they decide to leave, they have zero. So, that's the two different, sides of that coin. But, digital is coming on big, and PlayStation is joining the fray. In birthday news, Intellivision turned 42 this month. Intellivision sounds like a really old console, and for it to be younger than me, that really sucks. But yeah, so way to go, Intellivision, 42, you young bastard, you. But yeah, so Intellivision launched on December 3rd, 1979. It was released by Mattel. Obviously it was trying to compete with the Atari 2600, which was, dominant back then in the early 80s, late 70s and early 80s. And it did pretty well. It never overtook Atari, but it definitely offered a lot of unique features. And, first of its kind in the gaming industry. It was, $299 at launch, which is not that uncommon for consoles over time. But the difference there being $299, now or recently, seems like maybe not that much, but $299 in 1979, that equates to $1,150 in today's dollars. So, you think your kid's wanting a PS5 for, $500-$600 that maybe you had to pay a scalper, $700 or $800 just to get one. Well, back in 1979, people paid the equivalent of $1,100 to get an Intellivision. So, yeah. So, gaming is becoming more mainstream, and the costs are actually coming down, even though sometimes the price points go up. But due to inflation and exciting economic things like that, we're really still getting a lot of bang for our buck in spending for video games now. And Intellivision also, it had the first 16-direction D-pad, first with side buttons, had the controller overlays, and they even had a module for it to play 2600 games, which, I don't know of, let me think. Yeah, there's probably just a few consoles that have ever done that, really, of first-party consoles that put out a device for their machine that allowed it to play the games of another brand's console. Like, that's crazy. But it was also just, proof of the fact that they acknowledge that they'll never be number one, but they could be a very strong number two if they allowed for those Atari games to also play on their machine. And then people would, see spending their $1,100 equivalent dollars on a machine that kind of does everything. Like, that's more bang for the buck. So that's a better value. So anyway, it was a really cool system, gave Atari some competition, and competition's always good. It brings out, more innovation and more, competitive nature of people. It makes them fight harder, to succeed. And that's always a good thing. So happy birthday to Intellivision. And they are still around, in case you were wondering. They have a new console called the Amico, that's been pushed off several times because of COVID pushback, but it is supposed to release in 2022. It's like an all-digital Intellivision version or console with updated versions of the classic games, plus some other digital games that'll be available, and they even have some physical games we talked about in one of the earlier Game Overcast shows that are like collectibles that kind of go with those. So the company's still around, and it's really cool stuff. Definitely, some retro firsts set by Intellivision. So happy birthday! And if you want to find out more, you can go to Intellivision.com and check them out. Also, Paper Mario is coming to the Nintendo Switch online expansion pack. So that's probably the time you're watching this Game Overcast. It'll be out by then. I believe that's the only new N64 game coming, but at least that's something. Honestly, even as a platform gamer, and I love me a Mario game. But Paper Mario was never my thing. To me, it always seemed, I don't know, cheesy. Can I say that? Sorry, fans of Paper Mario. But I love platformers that are more actiony, and it just seemed a little too slow and cutesy for me. I don't know.
RPG.
It is an RPG. But I know, but it's like, you know, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh, a new Mario game. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a Mario game. That's like a totally different kind of take on it. But it's great. And it expanded the world and the, you know, the type of, you know, gamer that would play a Mario game. But it was just different, and it was not really my style. But if you're into it and you want to, you know, get a digital copy, you know, it's on that Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, you know, or you can get a Nintendo 64 and the original from a Game Over Video Game store near you. So that's on the new expansion pack, so that's nice. In retro gaming speedrunner news, there's a speedrunner named Matt DeRock, MattDaroc, who has posted some god speedruns with Resident Evil games. So Tien, you can appreciate this. I know you're a Resident Evil fan, but yeah, so he's playing the classic Resident Evil games without taking a hit. So yeah, pretty amazing stuff. And I saw one of the videos on YouTube, and so that's one I would definitely recommend that you check out. So look for Matt DeRock on YouTube and check out his Resident Evil speedruns. Really cool. So let's see. In other news, new Sonic games might be coming. This is the 30th anniversary of Sonic this year. And so, again, another reason for me to feel old. Like, it doesn't seem like 30 years ago that Sonic came out, but I guess that's about right. So Sonic or Sega, you know, reserved the domain for Sonic Frontiers. And so the thought is that's going to be the title of the new game. That'll be more of an open world game. And so they registered the domain. They have an updated listing on Steam for a additional Sonic title that's not mentioned yet. And so, you know, they're also supposed to make an announcement this week, just right after this show records, at the Game Awards. So we're thinking that'll be the announcement. We're not sure, but if not now, then very soon. You didn't hear that, did you? No.
Excuse me.
Sorry, Dan has some allergy issues over there, so he apologizes for that.
Trying to keep it in.
He was about to explode, I think, and he did. So, so Sonic might be, you know, exploding with some news soon on their new game, but we'll have to see the Game Awards this week and see what their big announcement is, and if it's not about the new game, they should be making an announcement soon about the new game. So we'll stay tuned for that. So, and that wraps up all the retro and current gaming news. And so let's go on to level 2 and talk about company news for Game Over Video Games. And we're back with level 2, the company events. So what's going on at your local Game Over Video Games store lately? This weekend, on December 11th, Saturday, December 11th, is the next Super Retro Challenge tournament series. So some of our stores will be hosting free retro gaming tournaments. The stores hosting are the one in Bellevue, Washington, the one in South Austin, the one in Arlington, the one in Selma, Texas, near San Antonio, and the one in Houston on 1960 on the northwest side. So all 5 of those Game Over stores are hosting free tournaments on Saturday, December 11th. You can find out the games, the rules, the times to sign up, and all that good stuff on their Facebook pages for those individual stores. And you should definitely check it out. It's free to enter, fun to play, and you might win stuff. So cool. Go meet other retro gamers that live near you. Build the community. That's what we like to do. Build the retro community. In other news, I know on the last show I was totally unprepared because of the whole break-in thing again, and I didn't have the sales breakdown, and so I told you I'd have the full December breakdown today, and I do. So this is the Game Over Video Games full sale breakdown for December from now until Christmas. What's going to be on sale and when? So get your paper and pens ready. So first of all, the trade-in bounty that we've had going on Nintendo 64s and GameCubes is still going on. That extends to December 31st. So if you bring in any Nintendo 64 consoles or GameCube consoles, $80 is the least you will get for it. You bring in games, accessories, other cool stuff, extra controllers, sure, you're going to get more. But the bare minimum, and this is a cash value. This isn't like store credit and then cash is less kind of thing. It's like the bare minimum is $80 cash. So bring those babies in. We need them for Christmas. We will find them a good home in the next couple weeks. And if you happen to have a then we don't take those. But we do take Nintendo 64s that are colors, the Funtastic colors like the orange and the grape and all that good stuff. Those are worth $150 in cash. So if you have any of those, bring those in for sure. $150 cash, you get more in-store credit, more for extra games, and all that kind of stuff. So bring those in. We would love to have those. Those are really hot items right now. Also, we're doing a clearance sale, which is starting now and goes through Christmas Eve, the 24th. Everything in the clearance bins at all the Game Over Video Game stores is half price, so 50% off. There's a lot of stuff, dollar items, which will then be 50 cents. There's some other random things that'll just be half of whatever their lowest marked clearance tag is. Plus, each store has a small collection now of some defective consoles, things that we couldn't get fixed or repaired, and some of them are just minor, like it's missing a door, or the shell is cracked or stuff like that. Some of them are major, just like they're just pieces of junk. But some of them are really fixable type things, and all of them you can use to mod, to decorate, to turn into art projects, to unassemble, reassemble, kind of like what I did with the Super Nintendo, and do a lot of things with them. But we sell them cheap in the clearance bins as it is. Most of them are about, between $10 to $30 a piece. And now they're going to be 50% off. So please come check out that pile of defective clearance systems in all of our stores. We're trying to move all that stuff out by the end of the year. So, come get a deal, on that kind of stuff. Buy like 2 or 3 Xboxes, and surely you can Frankenstein one working one together out of that and come away with a deal on an Xbox or any system. So the clearance sale going on now, 50% off all those yellow clearance tags in those bins in the stores. Let's see. Also, weekly sales starting Friday, December 10th through Thursday, December 16th. We're doing a PS2 used game sale. So all the used games for PlayStation 2 are 20% off. You can get that in stores or online at gameovervideogames.com using the code PS2 sale. Clever, right? It's a PS2 sale. So PS, the number 2, SALE is your online code. You can get that. That's December 10th through 16th. Then Friday, December 17th through Christmas Eve, Friday, December 24th, that's going to be the Xbox used game sale. That's 20% off of used Xbox games. And the online code there is Xbox20, XBOX20. Again, very clever because it's 20% off Xbox. Then that takes us to Christmas. And Christmas, our stores are closed, as you might expect, but just for that day. So we can all celebrate Christmas with our families, and that's awesome. But if you are still insisting on shopping with us and giving us money on Christmas Day, we're going to take it. We appreciate it. So if you want to shop on our website on Christmas Day, we're doing a one-day sale, Christmas Day only, December 25th, 20% off everything, the entire website. And all you have to enter is the code HO.
Nice.
Yeah, I always think of Die Hard when I see that. It's not Christmas, it's the Die Hard reference that always gets me. But yeah, so in the voice of Hans Gruber, ho, ho, ho. So that's the code to enter, and you get 20% off all day on Christmas. So enjoy shopping with the family, and then we will do either you can do free store in pickup, or you can do free in-store pickup, which is probably a little more convenient. Free in-store pickup at the store near you the following week, or you can get home delivery for just $10, and we'll send it out to you. So thank you in advance for your business during those next 3 weeks of sales, and that takes us all the way through Christmas with all the sales going on in December for Game Over Video Games. So there you go. So make notes, plan your attack, come into the stores when the sale is going on that you want, and take advantage of that. And we appreciate your business in advance. We know you're going to come in, and so thank you. In CGF news, the Classic Game Fest convention continues to build for next year. It's going to be the 15th anniversary. We're really excited. Let's see. Oh yeah, I have a note here. There's several people that have applied in the past week or two, but because of Black Friday and some other travel commitments of mine, I haven't been able to get back to you yet. So thank you. Please be patient. I will get back to you soon. If not this week, then very soon after. But yeah, we've been getting just slammed with people wanting tickets and booths for Classic Game Fest. So it's great news. We're going to have an amazing convention next year. And yeah, so over 50 booths are now committed and paid. We'll get well over 100 in the next year and be back to like normal times with conventions next summer. So yeah, it's going to be an amazing event. And tickets are on sale now. Booths are on sale now. We're also taking applications for free game developer spots now, suggestions for guests now. And yeah, so any of that stuff, you can check out classicgamefest.com, or you can email info@classicgamefest.com for reaching out on anything Classic Game Fest related. All right, and that is it for the Game Over and Classic Game Fest updates. So let's go on to Level 3, our feature section, where we're going to talk about some exciting holiday gift items available right now at your local Game Over video game store. And we're back with the feature segment, and this week it's holiday time. Christmas is upon us. It's just about 2 weeks from Christmas, believe it or not. Wow, that's really close. Crap, I have a lot to do. In other news, I'm not prepared for Christmas. No, seriously. But we do have a lot of cool Christmas stuff at Game Over Video Games this year. And I wanted to show some of it to you today for our feature. So some of the exciting things that you can find this year are spread around the desk here. So first of all, we've got a light up Zelda-themed Christmas tree, LED. So you actually just plug it in like a USB plug, and it's a tiny little Christmas tree with a little Triforce on top. Very cool.
Does it spin?
It does not spin. Indoor use. Yeah, don't use it outside. It'll be like a lightning rod because it's like 10 inches tall. But I don't know. But it's very cool, and something you can put on your desk. Everybody likes to decorate their workspace with cool stuff. So that's a really cool one. There's also supposed to be a Nintendo-themed one that we are supposed to have. We don't have that yet. That's unfortunately been one of the casualties of that, the labor shortage, the shipping shortage, all the containers sitting out in the water, not unloaded at the docks in California. So yeah, I mean, even this stuff that I'm going to show you, we don't have a whole lot of it. We only have a very small amount, and any restock is probably going to come right about Christmas or just after Christmas. So I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, so not much we can do there, but while we have it, get it while you can, because there is some cool stuff, this year that we have. Also over here, Rob, if I can borrow these from you real quick, we have some really cool stockings. These are some of my favorites, actually. So we've got a Zelda stocking and a Mario stocking, both retro themed, and I hope you can see these on the camera, but yeah. They're really cool. I think they're like $15 or so, but they say Happy Holidays, and it's like a embroidered image of the characters on there, and then everything else is just like a print. But really cool little stockings. So if you need a stocking for the gamer in your house, that's a good gift idea. And then over here we have some tree toppers. We've got obviously Zelda-themed Triforce, and then a Mario-themed Superstar there. So the two tree toppers are $20, $19.99. The little LED trees are $29, and the stockings are $14.99. So all of these are available right now at your local Game Over Video Games store, and they will have only small amounts of them, so get them while they last. And if your local store doesn't have any, check the other Game Over stores nearby, and maybe they have some left. But also, they are available on our website, again, in limited numbers. So you can check out GameOverVideoGames.com and get some of those there. Also, normally we let people know around December 15th is about the latest you can order things on our website at GameOverVideoGames.com. I got to plug it every time. So normally December 15th is kind of our cutoff, where we say if you order by then, you should get it by Christmas. We're still going to try and honor that this year, but because there's been so many shipping delays this year, and the labor shortages and all that kind of stuff, like, I don't know for sure you'll be able to get it by Christmas if you order by the 15th. I think you will, and we definitely will expedite it out of here. And anything you order, we try and get it in the mail the next day. So it's a pretty fast turnaround on our end, but we are dependent, of course, on other people to actually, take it to your house. So, we hope that UPS and Post Office and everybody are, cranking up their delivery routes this time of year. But please try and order by December 15th if you really want it by Christmas. Otherwise, we will do the best we can, or we can, see if we have one at a local Game Over Video Game store for you instead. So anyway, let's see. That is all of the feature segment. So lots of cool Christmas stuff this year. We will be getting more that will come probably closer to Christmas, or maybe even after Christmas, that we may just have to just basically box up and save till next year, because you won't really want to buy this stuff in January, right? Because it's Christmas stuff. But anyway, that's just the way it goes sometimes. So get it while you can right now, and that's it for our feature section. So let's go on to level 4, the boss battles. And this week we're going to talk about conventions, friend or foe. And we're back with level 4, the boss battles, and I'm joined by my friend and partner Tien Fan.
Hello again.
Who is Mr. Convention, to talk about that con life. So some of us in our business know it very well. Maybe some of you have small businesses and you've been a part of conventions. Maybe you work for big businesses that have been part of conventions. Everybody does conventions, right? Like businesses. But especially in terms of the retail world, there's Comic Cons, there's anime cons, there's gaming cons, all kinds of conventions that are relative to retro gaming. And so we, as Game Over, attend a lot of them. And by we, I mean him. And so anyway, it just got me thinking that, we had 2 conventions this past weekend, and got me thinking about convention life, that con life. And so then the first thing I thought of was my friend One Up. So shout out to Creative Mind Frame, Emmanuel. We love you. Who comes to CGF like every year. He's, now like basically the MC of the stage, but also performs every year. And he actually did a video, made a song called That Con Life, or Con Life. And, there's a lot of, footage shot at CGF, which is really cool in there. There's a cameo by me in the end, so you should definitely check it out just for that. But it's really cool. And so I rewatched it again. It's a couple years old, but I rewatched it again yesterday, and it was, just as amazing. And so I recommend you check that out. I'll put the link in the description for this video so you can check it out. But it's under Creative Mind Frame. It's called Con Life. It's on YouTube, and I'll put the link below. It's really cool, and so you should check that out. So speaking of conventions, love them or hate them, friend or foe. Sometimes they make us lots of money and they are our friends, and sometimes not. So I guess a question for all of you listening is, how do you feel about conventions? Do you like to go as a fan to attend? Are they worth the price of admission to go, do you think? Or as a business or somebody that works for a business that attends conventions, like, do you enjoy having a booth at a convention? The costs and the time and the travel and the hassles that go with that, setting up the booth, taking down the booth, all the stuff that goes into it. Love it, hate it. What are your thoughts? So please comment if you are a booth organizer, booth operator, or attendee or fan of conventions, or if you hate all of them. Let us know. Why? Also, just don't say I hate it. Say, hey, I hate it because, and give us the why. We do have a history of doing a lot of shows at Game Over Video Games. We've been in business, over 16 years now. And pretty much since the beginning, we've done events, from small scale things. In the beginning, like I would do the conventions when it was just me or just me plus a couple other people. We would do smaller ones. I remember doing convention like in a library, right? Which is a convention, but it's like, there's like 50 people that come a little at a time, and so we've done all kinds of stuff like that, like parking lot, shows, and then building up to the bigger ones like Comic Cons, and at one point we went to, how many did we do a year? Like at our peak, we did like 50 cons in a year, 50 plus one year, which is crazy. That's like every week. It's not really every week, but that means that some weeks there are like 2 or 3 at the same time, and we'd have multiple people kind of fanning out over the country. And so it's crazy. So they can be good, they can be bad. But this weekend just got me thinking about that, because, this year has been very strange for conventions, as you might imagine, due to COVID. So last year they were pretty much all canceled. This year, about half of them are on, half of them are not. And of the ones that are on, about half of them are good, half of them are not. And so it's really hit or miss this year. CGF was amazing. Probably the only convention I can think of this year that had like record-setting levels of attendance. Like our best year ever was strangely this year. And there were other conventions that worked the same weekend too, as usual. But yeah, so it did awesome. And Anime Matsuri and Comic Palooza in Houston were awesome in July. Those were some big ones for us. But everything else has been kind of from mediocre to bad. So this past weekend, we were at Anime Frontier in Fort Worth, a big, pretty new anime show, and we were at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle. And so I set up the Anime Frontier in Fort Worth. Tien did the Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, and so I thought we would just talk about like just those two, just as kind of a comparison.
Sure.
So for me, the Anime Frontier, it's a pretty new show, but it's in Texas, so there's not a lot of COVID fears and stuff like that. People are willing to come out, and I thought attendance was pretty solid. It wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't horrible. We partnered with them on, we actually sold the badges in our stores. We helped promote. We got good booth placement. The attendance was solid, not fantastic, but solid. Sales were good. So that I would say is a pretty good experience. So tell us about Emerald City Comic Con and how that went for you.
Well, I would like to preface by saying that no knock on Emerald City Comic Con. I guess as an entity, I guess
you don't have to sweet talk them.
Based on this year, I want to say, because it was definitely a very different experience than I've had in previous years, and that could be attributed to quite a few different things. Staffing shortages, staffing turnover, just the whole not being able to commit to certain timelines because of the uncertainty of COVID and what have you, Delta flaring up. Like there's a lot of things that could have contributed to why it was a little bit more disorganized, and the show itself on a few different fronts seemed a little underwhelming. And so this year, Emerald City Comic Con was essentially a lot of efforts for not a whole lot of payoff.
Yeah.
To start off, it was actually 4 days. So most conventions are usually over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
You kind of set up Thursday. It's like a 4-day commitment. Emerald City Comic Con is a 5-day commitment because it started on Thursday and ended on Sunday, but then you have to set up on Wednesday. And then on top of that, it's obviously very far away from Texas, and so there's a travel day involved, and essentially just a very long week.
Yeah.
And so in terms of actually just logistics, kind of a strain there for sure, and normally it would be pretty worthwhile because it's a huge show. Like that's usually 100,000 plus attendee show, it's a very good marketing opportunity for us to raise awareness of our brand and our stores in that area. We love doing it. But this year it just it seemed like there was a lot of effort, and we didn't have that same return. So it being a 4-day convention was challenging. The attendance was definitely, a lower level than it has been in years past. It was well attended, so it wasn't like a ghost town. But I will say, with absolute certainty that Thursday was just a bust. I mean, usually, like if shows do like an extra day or whatever, they use it as a preview day. And so it's just shortened hours, and people pay a little bit extra to have first dibs in the exhibit hall so that they can do their shopping and get their hands on the goods and everything.
Or it's just like a party, or just like a kickoff celebration. It's not like an all day normal con hours.
Yeah, but that was not the case, and it was from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So just a full 9 hours, and it was just a very slow trickle of people on that first day. And unfortunately, a lot of the exhibitors were pretty frustrated about that. It's already a long show, but to have it so that you don't hardly make any sales, you don't hardly you be able to promote your brand and your company. It just seemed like that first day was wasted. And so the show started off kind of on a bad note. Friday, can't say that it was much better. A little bit more steady, but never felt like back in the golden times of conventions where any of you that have gone to a convention in the past, not including this year, will know that there's a certain excitement and energy when you go to a convention. There's a kind of electricity in the air. It's kind of buzzing. Everyone's
smiling.
Yeah, everyone is just like stoked to be surrounded by a bunch of nerds, and everyone's like hugging each other and taking pictures with each other, and that's missing. It's really a shame because of COVID, and of course, safety is important, but that's a very important element of conventions, and when that's not there, it just kind of brings down the whole mood in general. And so the excitement to even go is lessened, but even when you're there, it feels very, restricted, and so people want to be socially distant, and people just don't have that. It's just that willingness to go all out with like, all right, I'm here, I'm gonna have a good time, I'm gonna buy all this stuff, that's what we love, of course, because we're able to spread the word about Game Over Video Games Classic Game Fest, and sell our stuff, and it's easier to do when people are actually pumped, whenever on both fronts as an exhibitor and an attendee it's kind of strained, then it makes it so that the experience it doesn't feel right. And so it got a little bit better on Saturday. Saturday is the day where I will say that people were out in force, and it got pretty crowded. But yet at the same time, it felt just not the same.
100,000 people.
Exactly, 100%. And even the people that were there were kind of just a little bit more reserved. And Comic-Cons specifically, compared to like anime conventions and gaming conventions, are a little bit pricier because they have big celebrities that you have to pay to do meet and greets, pay for autographs, on top of the usual convention costs, like having to pay outrageous gouging prices for parking, for food, for your passes, It is definitely a pretty hefty cost whenever you commit to going to a convention, and so all of that didn't really work in favor on the sales side, I think, because while we were excited that for the first time this year because of COVID, a lot of conventions pushed back their dates to later in the year, so we actually had conventions in December for the first time ever. Usually they cut off around November. And so we were thinking, oh, this is great. Like people are going to come and want to do their Christmas shopping and just drop a lot of money and
so much.
Again, there are various factors that were kind of affecting that, but that sadly, didn't seem to be that case that we were thinking. And again, it's a very expensive show to go to. So Saturday was better as far as like attendance, but still the energy was kind of down, the sales were kind of down, the opportunities to promote were kind of down. And then Sunday pretty much was like Friday, not as bad as Thursday, but then not great. And then Sunday is always a really long day because you not only have to work the show, but then you tear down the booth afterwards, and then go home. And so all that being said, it was an off year for sure. I had to deal with a lot of logistical issues. There was communication issues with the representatives, and I can definitely be sympathetic up to a point, but it was a lot of stress, a lot of frustration, and it just made us really have to sit down and have a conversation of like, what direction are conventions going now? Because we were really excited to see how the conventions in July turned out, like David was mentioning, like Houston Comic Palooza, Anime Matsuri, Classic Game Fest. Those were all phenomenal. That was those were the first shows where they were taking that brave step to be like, okay, we're doing we're doing a convention, like it or not, it's happening. And the mask mandates, at least in Texas, were not in place, and yeah, that was really kind of, for a lot of people, what they saw as the light at the end of the tunnel, where it's like things are finally going back to normal. And so for those early conventions, they really had that energy, that buzz, that excitement I was talking about, and people were just thrilled to be able to go out and live life. And then Delta happened, everything kind of got scaled back, and we're at where we are now, where we just don't know, like, you know, if there's going to be a turning point again, because now we have another variant, and truly, like, we're starting to see a lot of shows start to spring up, but not necessarily even big conventions. Like,
well, that's one of the things I wanted to mention on here too, is that you know, that's kind of the thing. Even this past weekend, it was striking because I bet the one that I set up at Fort Worth, the Anime Frontier. The setup was smooth, move out was smooth, attendance seemed solid, and overall, though, I think it's intended or expected that would have been a smaller crowd than Emerald City, which is one of the big ones in the country. You know, and what turned out, I think, is Emerald City was probably about the same attendance, maybe less. I don't know, but then we had, like, I think you were going to start to go into some of this, you know, like a lot of logistical issues, move-in issues, move-out issues, booth issues, payment issues, communication or lack of through email issues. And it's just amazing the difference between two cons, like, you know, Texas versus Washington, you know, big versus small. You know, Emerald City is a big company. You know, it's owned by ReedPop, the people that do PAX. And so it's, you know, they have a staff, they have money, they have the ability to pay people to, you know, plan things and to email their vendors and to, you know, orchestrate move in and move out and stuff like that. And it just seemed like, you know, just looking at these two, you know, Texas seemed like people were more willing to go out, and it was just a better organized show. And it just floors me that shows like ReedPop that, you know, are so big and well known, that, you know, PAX and Emerald City, like two very large cons, that they're just, I don't know if something's changed. And, you know, since they're run by ReedPop now, I don't know, but yeah, we did not have a very solid experience with them. And so I don't like to, like, badmouth people on the show, but, like, you know, we were really let down by, I think,
learning experience,
you know,
ReedPop.
Because, you know, really it's one thing to lose attendees because of COVID, because you can say, well, eventually they'll come back. But, you know, you screw around with your vendors and, you know, not communicate, not have, you know, smooth flow in and out of the convention, and not deliver, you know, reasonable attendance and stuff like that, then, you know, you lose your vendors and then you lose your show.
Right.
But yeah, so now we're trying to, you know, plan for 2022, and you know, some conventions are already announced, some are still kind of on the fence. You know, and from this year's experience, you know, some have been successful, some have not been. And so, you know, we're having to try to decide what to do. You know, there's smaller conventions, like little one-day cons, little, like, especially in the gaming world, there's the swap meet type conventions, where it's like, it's really just a city event or like a neighborhood event, you know, where, you know, you just have like 10, 20 people, they buy tables and they just do it. It's a one-day thing. And, you know, the crowds are small, but they're excited. It's like local Facebook groups and stuff get together and do that. But like for us, those are hard to do because we still have to do the planning and the travel and stuff like that. And then at a smaller show, you know, you're not going to make that much money. So it's better for just local people to do local. But then you do the big Comic Cons and you spend so much on a booth. And then if the attendance isn't there, if the, you know, the logistics of move in, move out, you know, everything, communication, payment, you know, all that kind of stuff is flawed in a major way, then, you know, to go into a big show, you have to make so much money to, like, pay off the cost of not just the booth, but the staff, but the, you know, like hotel, the food and stuff like that, of being able to run the event the whole week or weekend. So I don't know. It's a really tough choice, and so like I said earlier, you know, I'd love to hear, you know, feedback. You know, comment on this YouTube channel or on the Facebook post or any of the podcast streams. You know, let us know what your experience is with conventions. You know, whether you like to attend them or not, whether you like to vend or not. You know, what are your favorite ones to go to? You know, and why, and stuff like that. Because yeah, especially now in the post-COVID world we live in. it's really a crapshoot now. I mean, we have CGF, and that's awesome, and we're going to definitely stick with that. But we're really not sure, which other ones to do going forward. Just focus maybe on the smaller neighborhood ones, or to, focus on just maybe a few of the bigger ones that we know are well run and that will, treat us right and, be worth our while to go to, or what to do. So anyway, we're open to any feedback and ideas and, sharing your experience with us. And I guess that's pretty much it. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with Emerald City or?
Not specifically with Emerald City, but like you mentioned, your feedback would be really appreciated. Certainly, like, what type of events do you like to go to? Do you prefer like the smaller ones or the bigger ones? Do you go to both? And what is it that you like about either of them, like the pros and the cons? That would help us kind of be able to not only plan our convention better, like Classic Game Fest, but then to kind of know what to expect whenever we go to shows like that. So we really would love to hear from you. And also,
we want to go where you want to see us. Where do you want to see a game over booth?
Exactly.
What conventions do you like where there should be a game over booth where there's not right now?
And specifically me, since I am the events guy, if you happen to see me behind the booth, come say hello. I always love to see a friendly face.
Yeah.
And as much as we were kind of complaining a lot, like, events are fun. Like, we do like to go. We like to build the community. It's fun to be around a bunch of nerds and gamers. We all love the same type of things. We want these all to thrive, and that's the whole idea behind doing this. But there's definitely things that kind of need to be straightened out a little bit. The world does need to kind of go back to normal a little bit before we can feel like people will be comfortable to go out and do what they used to do with conventions. So there's things that are not that. Stuff that we can't control or, the shows can't control. But what we can do is, of course, listen to the feedback and take that in consideration. So,
yeah. And so definitely as a public service announcement too, everybody get your COVID vaccine
please
over the holiday break. Because, I just got my third or booster, whatever it's called. Yeah. So I've had 3 now. So I am like 110% protected. But yeah, so please get your boosters. Let's try and stop this where there's a new variant of COVID every month, scenario from constantly replaying itself, where we can get back to a world where, there is no mask restrictions, people feel comfortable going out in public again, and then hopefully, in time, maybe next year in 2022, or at least 2023 after that, we can start to rebuild the convention, mindset.
Yeah.
With vendors willing to go, attendees willing to go, and the people that own and run the events having the staff that they need to run it adequately so that they don't leave things kind of hanging like we experienced this past weekend. And just poor planning, poor execution, poor communication. We shouldn't have that. We shouldn't have to deal with that. So let's get back to regular convention life soon. And again, a reminder to check out the link in the description to check out Creative Mindframe's awesome video for Con Life. I think it'll really strike a chord with you, and so I definitely recommend you check it out. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Tien. I really appreciate you joining us on the show.
I
always
expect
a pleasure to have you here.
Bigger Christmas bonus this year.
Yes, I will do that for you. So anyway, now we will move on to the bonus level and fan feedback. And welcome back. This is the final part of the show, the bonus level, my personal favorite, the fan feedback section. So thank you for the comments and the well wishes and congrats on the show. And, as I said at the beginning, this is our 10th episode. I'm feeling, much more comfortable in doing the show, which is nice. I still have a hard time, fitting it in my schedule and doing extensive planning for it. But I'm working on that. So hopefully that's getting better, or at least it doesn't seem that way to you, that it's very, thrown together. Because it's totally not. It's totally well thought out. But anyway, thank you for the feedback. And some of the comments that we got, somebody said they were sorry about the break-in, and then they said, like, I didn't write down what they said, but it was something along the lines of, like, yeah, you just talked about break-ins a few episodes back. And I was like, yeah. And, with 12 retail stores with a product that people like to steal in them, break-ins are something that I deal with a lot, sadly. And so, yeah, sometimes, especially this time of year, it happens, and it sucks. And so whether it's shoplifting or breaking in or whatever, like people broke our door last week and trying to get stuff, and it's just stupid stuff that stupid people do for stupid reasons, and they need to all just get jobs and not do that. So, but anyway, but yes, thanks for your condolences on the additional break-in. I won't even say second one of the year because it's not, but the additional one that we had right in a row. Yeah, and they also called me the 9-minute Plock Wonder. So thank you. Yeah, I love being called the 9-minute wonder. That's awesome. Sorry. Let's see. And then a good recommendation, too. I played a Plock, of course, the past 2 shows, I guess. And they recommended a Dr. Mario or Tetris as an alternative, which I actually really like that idea. Those are 2 games I love. And so I will take you up on that suggestion. And I will do Dr. Mario or Tetris, or maybe both, in future episodes. So if you prefer one or the other, comment on the stream, comment on the YouTube channel, comment on social media, or email podcast@gameovervideogames.com, and let me know, what do you think the owner of Game Over Video Games should play and record on video and post to the world to see? What would be the most hilarious thing I could play? I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I know Dr. Mario and I know Tetris, and I kick ass at those games. So be ready, because I'm going to do one of those on one of the near future shows. I don't know if it'll be next week, but something in the near future. And I will show you my awesome retro puzzle gaming skills. And then another recommendation to do NES Duck Hunt, which I think is a really good recommendation. And a lot of people don't know this, but you plug a controller into port 2, you can control the ducks. So I gotta say that as much as possible, because a lot of people don't know that. It adds a whole new level of fun to the game. So anyway, that's about it for the feedback. Yeah, not a whole lot of feedback this time. I think everybody's in that holiday mindset. It's just they've got other things to think about right now. But they should be thinking about Game Overcast, right? They should be commenting on our show. Because if not, what are we doing this for? So please comment. Let us know what you think. So anyway, that's it for the feedback. Thank you, as always, for watching on YouTube, social media, listening to the audio version on podcast streams. And on behalf of all of us here at Game Over Video Games, thanks for your business and support, and helping us to spread the word by liking and sharing and commenting and subscribing and ticking and talking and Insta-ing and gramming. Is that right? Yeah. I think I got it.
Got it.
Did I get them all? Okay.
Nailed it.
Yes. Because I'm down with the kids and what the kids are doing. Yeah. But seriously, we would not be here today if not for your support. So thank you very much, and especially this time of year when everybody is out shopping and you have 1,000,001 places to go and options to choose from. And so if you choose to go to Game Over to shop for Christmas presents, we really appreciate that. So thank you. So thank you for your support. Let's keep building the retro gaming community. That's what this show and this store and this company and Classic Game Fest and everything I do is all about, is bringing people together to celebrate the love of retro gaming. And so, that's where you come in. So please be a part of that. Join me on that journey. So everyone, have a great week. Play some classic games. Take some time to relax in between all the work and holiday prep that you're probably doing. That's it for now. So see you next time. Game over. Yeah, it's a very big production here. I can see all the staffers over here, all the employees cheering me on, and then we've got Dan and the entire camera crew back here in the back doing the technicals. We've got all the monitors showing. We've got green screen, because I'm really at the top of my office tower corner office, and we just green screened all this in, and then. Yeah, I got groupies, I got fans. I'm going to do an autograph session afterwards. I'm doing a TED Talk. It's going to be fantastic.
One day, guys, one day.
Wow.